as we close on out our lovely portal, a couple more messages on love and wholeness and how they make true partners who have intimacy, passion, connection, and speak truth. And so with that, we discussed empowered feminines, empowered masculines, the disappointing masculines and distorted feminines, but how amazing it is for our era, because we have the smart therapists to inform us all about how a non-traumatized person with a secure attachment has the capacity to regulate independently of relationships. Thank you, Pat Ogden, PhD. And so that's what wholeness is. And that's whether you got it earned or not, but you're whole. And so this is the empowered feminine because you own this. Also, you do enjoy, here's Jack Cornfield, PhD, the circle of compassion. And we know that it does not work and does not move the energy of life if one person is missing, and that person is the other. Okay, so you don't have any relationship with a person who is emotionally unavailable to their self, man, woman, or they might they be. And as long as they are basically a person who, when they meet, let me find it, when they meet the ventral vagal, your positive emotions, and they have a dysregulating effect on them, and that means that they get into this, if they don't know how to tell you it, they're going to be Cusco, and they're going to make their pattern. By the time your third interaction, you're going to know you have an emotionally unavailable man, woman, or they, which is where you don't do anything except for recalibrate to understand this isn't a connection. This is like my facade friend, a relationship that is going to be connection because I'm going to keep bringing my true self and speaking my truth. But I'm not in a romantic, this is not romance. This is not a lover. This is a human being who doesn't even know the beginning of courtship because you don't even know how to spell out to me how you feel. And if a person is lacking self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills, like my facade friend, they won't take ownership. So they'll continue with their biologically rude behavior that comes from maladaptive patterns of behavior alongside an adaptive child part that will bullshit their way through shit, which is really ridiculous because you're like, okay, really, and it doesn't get better or worse. It just is. Okay, so love comes with wholeness. Wholeness comes when you have a person who has their ventral vagal state and has all their child parts asleep, or they're tending to their maladaptive patterns of behaviors, the fucking, drinking, drugging, including ruminating and shame cycle, blame, fault, revenge, inner outer critic, and they're not bringing to you any kind of laundry Zen master. No, they're mindfully living and loving as their true self, so you get to share the experience of life, and with earned secure attachment for them, you securely attached or earned, you continue to navigate what is a healthy, self-soothing, self-regulating adult life because you both navigate ventral, and that's because you don't want to be in the comfort of protect that's not comfortable. You're actively choosing the connection, the safety state of your body. So not the safety behavior, being in ventral, so your body's state of safety versus the body's state of protection, which is what modulated embodiment and dysregulated embodiment, the fancy lady in a suit who spells out you need to be reactive. Everyone who wants to stay reactive is not emotionally available to what is speaking a truth with the healthy self-worth, functional inner child adult love language. That they might do Cusco. Yeah, Cusco's uninteresting. Cusco's a low self-esteem tone. They're trying to get shit going, and they are enamored with that up and down. I read it to you. The avoidant does that. Hold on. Let me grab my papers. Give me 1 minute, because in case you don't tune into that one, where did I put it? Okay, well, it's about lust. And so they're addicted to the fantasy stage, and they just spend time in their brain. So I can't find it. Oh, here it is. It's right here. I can't find it. Okay, so that's why it's completely unimpressive. Again, and reinforcement is what they do. So if they don't even bother to notice that they're treating a person unnecessarily the way they are, which is why, again, you don't really have a conversation with people who are clearly showing you disrespect. By the third time, You're not going to be asking questions. You have answered. Shared fantasy stage, but they only share fantasy stage with other emotionally unavailable people. Intermittent reinforcement is more powerful and addictive. They like the roller coaster and ups and downs, even though, as Stephen Porges would say, they don't choose it. They're addicted to somebody who is emotionally unavailable. So when I have had conversations with women who tell me, but why are they choosing somebody else? And that's where I started to just say, look, don't get vicious. They obviously aren't available. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's that stuff's going down. They need to tend to. So wholeness is what we have, which is why you spot it, you recalibrate, you allow yourself to be present in that moment, living the spiritual wisdom that is the law of attraction and love that is all consistently expanding for those of you who are 5D collective. And so it's not about if they're a twin flame or soulmate or any of that. You just know that love is easy, and that it's when you can speak truth to each other, and that's because you take each other on. And what is really fun about intimacy, passion, and true connection, like my facade friend, to this day, we are always telling each other the truth in each other's face. Obviously, it's not a romantic one. For those who choose to be romantic, that's a whole different story, because you have what is a perfect mental, emotional, and physical rapport. And so empowered feminine knows what empowered masculine brings to her. Empowered masculine knows what empowered feminine brings to him. And it's not a him or her thing, but we are the higher and best version of ourselves thanks to owning our mind bilaterally, the brain, and vertically, and having integration. It's not complicated. People who don't have integration yet, and if they have a hard time, like that Zen master, therapy would help them to continue to learn how to use their prefrontal cortex versus their temporal junction, and to learn how to change the words. If they don't want to, then they are going to stay in human suffering is not an option. That's why we have the human love narrative group. They're not whole, and they long for connection in a way that is leading still with a self that is their 0-1-year-old who they've decided that they don't know how to reassure. No, they don't want to use what is working for those who are smart therapists. Because again, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, all of those spirituality practices and exercises, and when expansion's happening, is only going to be maximized, as we discussed, when you have a self that you own. Your sense of self is owned by you. So you're not Cusco who changes their mind, or a teenager who basically is influenced by peer pressure. Grown-ups are still teenagers, by the way, when they are insecurely attached, and they're always changing it up. So you'll be amazed at the level of immaturity. I mean, I was, as I was growing up, I just, luckily for me, was busy with my life. And so today what I can tell you is empowered feminine knows what empowered masculines are. They speak truth. They bring their funny bone. They don't judge because they don't have a charge. They're not judgmental. They have opinions, and they're discerning. The discerning means we can recognize what is of health for our entire herd, and we know it's the ventral energy and the ventral vagal state, because that's where you're using your health. And the ones who speak otherwise, they are okay with their threat response, and that's where we leave it, because you don't have to welcome people who want to disregard years and years of researchers who are continuing to conduct research, who know how your embodied brain works. And Stephen Porges and Deb Dana inform us of why some people will be reactive to our positive emotions and our positive experiences. Okay, so they get dysregulated. That's what happens. And they're comfortable in what their 3-year-old implicit memory, and then 3 to 7 shame submissive know, which is why they continue to use shame, blame, fault, revenge, tell you not to be compassionate, not to love yourself. And they also twist in the same way words. And again, every person is going to go tune into that which they prefer. And so a group of people, 5D collective, we prefer true love. 4D, 3D, they are continuing to believe in this battle between good and evil in a way. And it's not just believing, they're actively, consistently using their threat response. And so while they ruminate in their negative imagination with the dark sides of neuroplasticity, they don't heal. And so they continue to have their nightmares, and then they Da, da, da. Okay, so we, on the other hand, are being ourselves mindfully, spiritually, a whole self, love and flow. We use good stress in life, and that's why our relationships, they are full of wholeness. And so with that, you're going to know the circle of compassion, and it does not work if the other person isn't participating. It does not move the energy of life if they don't want it. So you don't impose unconditional love on a person who does not want it. You also do not impose the safe state of safety, ventral vagal, on another. You can't. But remember that a non-traumatized person with a secure attachment has the capacity to regulate independently of relationships. Pat Ogden, PhD. So you know how to use two sides of the brain and here, and that's why mindset, mindfulness, and mindsight support you. So the Zen master doesn't know how to work his laundry, so he has a charge. So he does judgment, not discernment. So with his judgment, he keeps living the same situations that he judges. And our lovely Sadhguru, if there is love in your heart, it will guide you through your life. Love has its own intelligence. It's also why when you are a person who has the capacity to be in the present moment living, that now, it's amazing to process with spiritual wisdom, law of attraction again, and love, that you will have always brought to you that which will support you to expand. And so that's what the 5D collective of mystics and people know, is that we have two hands, 2 feet. God gave us these 2 hands, 2 feet for me, Jesus, Holy Spirit. They brought me something good. My mom, my twin, my younger sister, my fathers, my uncles, aunts, everyone, okay, extended family. So when you have the ventral energy in the forefront, this is that kind intention. It's gratitude, it's appreciation. And that's because in the state of awareness, you are full of sensations, images, affects, meanings, and behaviors that you are like, wow. And your thoughts. So thoughts and emotions don't overwhelm you. You're not weighed down. And so wholeness is this. And it means you have no longing for love. You don't long for people to be in your life. No, you are love and you appreciate their bonus in life. And so you want them to be happy. You're going to be happy. And that's why you are not going to hide away from intimacy, passion, and connection and speaking your truth. You won't be afraid to lose someone. You can't risk losing anyone. If there's one thing to leave you with is this. The minute you don't speak your truth, you will look to the past and you will always know that you didn't do all that you could to basically try and make it work out. And that's the one thing that I'm going to let you know an empowered feminine will not do. Meaning we don't say, I'm going to give up. No, I'm going to make sure that you don't want the love that I have to share with you, romantically speaking. Okay, so this is where 3 is usually a charm. Sometimes it's 5. Empowered feminines know when we have shared all that we could to try and just want to make sure that you are actively, and this is, you know why? Because clear communication is something that some of us are really great at, but the ones who don't, they give you mixed messages. And so when you have a strong connection between people, which is what happens if you actively pursued anything, there's a difference with those who long. I know of that, but we're not addressing that. I'm here with those who don't long. So wholeness means that I know that I'm really, really appreciative of our relationship from a mental, emotion, physical perspective. So I just want to be 100% plus sure that you don't want this. Once I know it, then I have my answers, and that is where I begin to allow myself to process that which is a rejection. And it's not hard because, again, a person who does not hold trauma, it's because you have the capacity to be in your state of mindfulness and mindsight with mindset, the way that I give you those video practices, not by pretending, no. You know how to use thoughts and emotions and say, I got rejected. I can handle it because I have air, water, and food. What's up? Where's my water? This is what a secure attachment person has, because no trauma doesn't mean that you didn't go through things. We all had the trauma charges of our child parts, but because we have bilateral, vertical, and overall integration and self-awareness, accountability, and regulation in our ventral vagal, in our love energy, we're good. So you don't do, they all betrayed me. You don't do, this is why you don't ever break in the sense of becoming half. And so, wholeness is what comes with true love and true partners. And that's why it's beautiful to have independent relationships, because we bring to each other that level of, I mean, amazing vulnerability, honesty. And it doesn't have to be twin flame, soulmate, none of that. I'm trying to help you understand. Obviously, for mystics, is different as we have the awareness. I mean, at least I do, of my oversoul. This has been, even when as a kid, I didn't realize I was already downloading, channeling, that the spiritual gifts were with me already, because I have a direct relationship with God. It's been, when you're familiar to something, and so you don't really have, like, you don't know what it's like to not have it. And what I can tell you, people who are readers, okay, so other mystics that I've encountered, they have, some of them, they picked up on this thing, and it was interesting, and always is, when 4D pick up on things, because they have a very different way with what they're doing. But long story short, they bring in tragedies, what I should say. The way the person picked it up, I was like, yeah, I know, I remember that time, but wow, you made it sound like some shit went down, and it's not how that worked. I know, consciously speaking, those choices that were being made and stuff like that. So the part of when you hold your heart body, value body, energy, mental and physical, this is where the alignment and the connection to Purusha, pure consciousness, I learned this in a workshop, Prakriti, pure energy. So as I say, pure energy, Prakriti is your whole 3-year-old and 1-year-old, and you get to be your safe haven, secure base, your whole self. Pure energy is unconditional love. And so that's what we get to bring to each other. And so when you have that, twin flame or not, you're going to have romance, you're going to have honest conversations, and you're going to lean into the truth together, which is what's really fun, as the empowered feminine can share with you all. The empowered masculines, they're awesome. Oh, a whole person is awesome in general, but romantically speaking, we bring to each other that which is the perfect mental, emotional, physical alignment that we want, and we expand to the best of ourselves and continue infinite higher human conscious expansion, because we got physical, mental, emotional intelligence. You get what I'm saying? No, it means you got people who are learning things intellectually, and they're having the fun, novelty, and creative expression. So they're not looking at tomorrow with, oh my God, evil's gonna win. No, we know who's winning. It's called God and love. I mean, really, it's winning. Dark matter, dark energy. Triumph is one of the words that I got to hear, but the point is, we don't doubt the mystic and the enlightenment soul age group here. I have no questions of who's going to be triumphant. It's love. That's it, because love is the intelligence that is of any pure consciousness, and pure consciousness means a smart person. So the ones who are ventral, the other ones, they're just going to allow each other to, I leave that alone for now. We'll talk about it in the future. But in the meantime, 111 portal, it's really fun. So we're going to close with a couple of my songs for love, romance, right? Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. Never let it fade away. And what else? And love may tap you on the shoulder on some starless night, and you will maybe want to hold her, him or they. And with a pocket full of starlight, there you go, shiny, shiny. And we love to love. And our babies, they love to dance, and they love to learn and expand and not cast stones. So they don't judge, no charges. They do discern, which means that they know how to have a very smart, intellectual, emotionally passionate. And that's why it's really amazing, because get two smart brains together who have no charges, no sensitivity, and then they just love exploring. I am a content creator, podcast host, online entrepreneur, mentor. You know this, but really I love learning. So as an entrepreneur, there's just all these subject matters, even though I focus on the personal development, self-help, but still neuroscience, quantum physics. I have other stuff, and we'll keep adding, in fact, to the bringing spirituality, and human elements together to explore human consciousness, human evolution, humanity, and you being yourself with integrity and your flaws and unconditional love, mindfully and spiritually. So be back with more. Have a great portal.